Welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher. So let's jump right into it. We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. What is going on, everybody out there in the comic book community? It's Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles. It is Sunday, and I am bored out of my goddamn mind. So that's why I'm jumping on and doing an impromptu kind of live stream Q&A for anyone out there who wants to jump on and hang out with me for about an hour or so. Maybe longer. You never know. Or maybe shorter if no one's on here right now. But I figured, you know what? I got nothing to do. It's Sunday afternoon with the time change. I'm up at 5 o'clock this morning. So I know there's a lot of stuff going around in, at least in my area relating to comics right now. There's the Clifton Comic Expo. There is Collector Fest. There's a couple other things out there relating to comics that are going on right now. Unfortunately, I'm not really looking for too many books. As you guys know, members of the channel, you guys get what I'm looking for ahead of time. So this way, if you're interested in going the same route, you know, members of the channel get that. That's one of the big things that you guys get from being a member of the YouTube channel. So just wanted to say hello to Peter. He said, hey, I just noticed you hit 4,000 subs. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Peter, man. Thank you for helping out with me today. You know what? It's a long time coming. I think I've been doing the YouTube thing close to 3.5 years now. And, you know, it's a long road. Don't get me wrong. When I first started doing the videos and stuff, I was just kind of jumping on and unboxing stuff that I had purchased over the past like 6 months to a year. So I was getting a ton of great books at the time. A lot of stuff that maybe you guys have never seen unboxed before. So that's when I had a massive collection. I've obviously, you guys know, I've traded a ton of books for my Batman 1, and that was something that I had to kind of upgrade what I was doing, right? I had to go out and see if I can get a book that was not really a lot of copies out there. And of course, you guys know I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm a Spider-Man fan first, Amazing Spider-Man. But after that, it's really Batman, Punisher, and Hulk. So Batman probably being number 2, at least number 1 in DC's eyes. Like, I read a lot of Batman growing up, including, you know, The Dark Knight Returns, The Killing Joke, Death in the Family, all great Joker stories. If you guys don't know, I'm actually doing a Joker video that's going to be hitting next week on Tuesday. So be ready for that. I, of course, a bunch of other ones as available as well that's going to be coming out. You know what? Let me just show you guys, right? We're here. It's an impromptu live show today. So let me show you what I have coming this week. And you guys can see this way. There you go. This is coming on Tuesday, my top 10 Joker comics. Now, I will say this, guys. A subscriber of the channel asked me to do this video, and I'm always open to taking requests on characters that they think, like, what are the top 5, what are the top 10 books that I think are great collectible books. And of course, these are my top 10 Joker books. So that's Tuesday of this week. And let's go to next week. Let's go to Tuesday, because that's going to be a fun video as well. Let's see, how do I change this? I always get confused on how to go back and forth with StreamYard. Then you really need to update how I'm able to share stuff. So here's Monday's video tomorrow. Obviously, my last eBay video that I did last week on Monday went viral. Like, it was a huge video. That's over 8,000 views. Allowed me to cross the 4,000 sub plateau very, very quickly, which was awesome. So hopefully this one gained some traction. I took another 6 books that sold the prior week, and we break them down, and we go over pricing, we go over GPA data, how they fared. And you'll be surprised at some of the stuff that you're going to see from this video. A lot of great books, a lot of keys. So again, I'll take requests on the eBay videos. If there are books out there that you guys are looking for, they say, hey, let me know the sale of this book. If it's sold, I want to see, you know, what I'm dealing with, or if I should go after it. That's what these videos are about. You know, me going out there and saying, all right, so here's some of the keys that maybe somebody's looking for. Let's dive into the grades. Let's dive into the prices, and we'll see if they're good buys right now. So those are 2 of the videos this week. And as always, on Thursday, I'll drop the Hot 10 Comics of the Week breakdown, which is always my favorite video because it's fast paced. There's a lot of information. I give you 2 sales prices on most of the books. If there's a 9.8 book out there that's a modern book, I'm only going to give you 1, because you guys know moderns, I only want 9.8s. Unless you can get like other grades for cheap and you just want them in the collection, that's fine as well. Um, two other videos actually that I want to share with you guys because they're big deals to me. Uh, because one guy has just kind of disappeared on me and I am waiting for him to email me back. He was supposed to come on the show. He actually owns an Action Comics 1. So if you're out there, bud, and you still want to come on the channel and show me all your great Golden Age books, including this and Action Comics 1, please do it because I am dying to talk to you. So get back to me as soon as you can. It is going to be a massive video if he ever comes on like he said he would. So get back to me as soon as you can. The last thing we're going to promote here right now while we're here is this video that's actually not going to be till next week. Okay. It's not going to be till next week because I don't want to flood you guys with videos this week, but boom, there you go. I have a comic haul for you guys. Members of the channel know I've been looking at a couple of books to pick up. Got one of them in this haul video, but I also have a CGC unboxing that's in here and have a couple of books that I was actually able to pick up off Elite Comics 11 and from Grails as well. So Instagram live sales right now you're getting some amazing deals. So if you're not paying attention on Instagram, some crazy shit is going on. Okay. With that said, I will stop the self-promotion for a while and let's catch up on people in the chat because I love you guys. Peter Simpson, you are in the UK, buddy. Thank you for joining me. That is awesome. Greetings from Toronto. Another one. Fatal, what's going on, bro? Good to see you. You're always on when I do these live streams. So thank you for joining me here today. Says he loves the channel. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And I got Brandon Metro. How you doing, bud? What's going on? We're just kind of hanging out here on the channel today. It's Lazy Sunday. Probably not too many people we're going to get out there right now who are going to be around. With the daylight savings time, it is really like 12:42 here on the East Coast. And of course, the West Coast, you guys are probably just waking up. What is it? 9:42. Maybe some of you guys are early birds, but regardless, we're here just hanging out. Okay. Um, that's it. Like, anybody have any questions, or even better, if anybody wants to jump on and come chat with me, I'm all for it. I'll send you the StreamYard link. You come and let's chat some comics. So anybody who's out there, do me a favor. I will shoot you the StreamYard link. Jump on with me. Let's talk some stuff. But other than that, we're just hanging out. I'm going to share some other pictures with you because I know that there's some stuff out there that I haven't shown you guys yet. So let's try to take a look at that while I got you. All right. So let's see what we got. All right. So those of you guys who don't know, I created a couple of these logos for the channel. So Show Me the Money book. Maybe about a year and a half ago, I did this, and this is just like, you know what book should we be buying that are the right comics pertaining to characters. So I always try to come up with slogans where I could put on a t-shirt. I do have one t-shirt with this one on it for myself. If anybody's interested in getting these things, do me a favor, drop me a comment down below or email me, DM me on Instagram, and I'll get some shirts printed because you guys know that I like to promote everything that goes on here on the channel. So the next time I'm going to show you, man, is my baby right now. It is my Batman #1. I just put out a video just kind of showcasing this book, under a minute video, just to show you, what it looks like. But there it is in my cabinet, all by its lonesome. I actually pre-ordered a Batman statue, a Frank Miller Dark Knight statue that's perfect size, I think, for this cabinet. So it's going to go side by side with my Batman #1. The next one, of course, is a massive statue that I purchased. I was going to do a review on this thing, but a lot of my reviews for the statues, they don't do too well on YouTube. So I figured, you know what? Let me just kind of steer clear for now. But this thing is massive, man. It is huge. I bought it actually to go in the statue case, but it fits, but I have to put it sideways. So it kind of looks stupid. So I figured I'd put it at the top right next to the Mighty Comics and Collectibles logo. Behind the logo, actually, is I have a original art by Neil Adams, and it's a Kirby Hulk. So it actually looks pretty cool behind the light. And of course, with the Kirby style Hulk sitting right in front of it as well. This thing, if you guys don't know, this is a Sideshow Collectibles exclusive piece. I bought this used secondhand, so it was a lot cheaper than if you had to buy this thing new. I think I paid like $700 for it. It was quite expensive, but I found this thing on eBay. It was perfect. Looks great. it's just awesome. Look at the pants. I mean, they're actually like cloth pants. So I thought that was neat. But either way, an awesome Hulk statue, throwback to Jack Kirby's Hulk, and that to me is my favorite Hulk. The way he looked, it's they shouldn't have never changed it to where it got in the '90s and so on and so forth. So here is another logo that I came up with. If you guys have been a fan of the channel for a while, friends don't let friends overpay for second appearances, right? I always talk about when we're buying books, any book, try to be under the fair market value if you can, unless it's something you're absolutely in love with. You have to have it, try to be under what it's valued out. But for second appearances, I want them on the cheap. Even third appearances, I want them on the cheap. They don't escalate in price as good as first appearances do. So if you are a second appearance collector, guys, try to get them on the cheap. They don't have to be the most super high grade. In fact, I think buying second appearances at super high grade is kind of throwing money away to a certain extent, because how many people out there are looking for first appearances? Everybody. Everybody out there is looking for first appearances. How many people are looking for second appearances? Maybe if they can't go out and get first appearances, all right, I'll go out and buy a second one. But do you really want to spend all that cash? Let's say 500 and up on a second appearance. Some people spend thousands and thousands. And I can't do it. So every time I go to look up and buy a second appearance book, I look for deals, not just regular deals. I look for massive deals, books that maybe are, nobody's really looking for, or maybe there's something wrong with the book that they're undervaluing what exactly is going on with it. So this is a slogan I came up with, where not overvaluing and not overpaying for second appearances. And I think it's important. Okay. And we'll take a break from this right now, sharing screen, and we'll go from there. A couple of things I did want to talk about today was there's some great auctions going on right now. You have Heritage and you have Comic Link. Let's take a look at Comic Link right now, because their auction right now, there is some massive stuff that is going on. And let me see if I can share my screen with this one. There we go. Well, I don't know if something's going on on YouTube, but it says that I don't have many people watching, but all of a sudden I just got a ton of chat that just popped in. So maybe something's going on with YouTube. I'll get you guys in a second, but check this out. Okay. They're doing their auction right now. I think there's like 9 days and change left on this auction. So I want to say thank you to Steve Borok from coming on the channel a couple of weeks back. He let loose some amazing stuff that's going on with Comic right now. And this, of course, just from looking at some of the books they have posted, they have Amazing Fantasy 15 at a 2.5. Doesn't let me click on this thing, but I'm going to take a look at some of the books because some of them are outrageous. We have a 0.5 Batman #1, which I actually do want to take a look at because I want to go over something important, and then we'll get into the chat. So check this one out, guys. This book has actually 8 days and 7 hours left. Okay. So this book actually, CGC says it has a married cover. All right. There's tape all over this book. That's also the case, but here, that's a little better. Cover detached, married cover, tape on cover, and interior cover as well. But dude, this is a Batman one. It's complete. All right. Nobody seems to talk about that. This book is complete right now. And that to me is a huge deal. Okay. Here's the back cover. Again, a ton of tape on this thing, but for a Batman one right now, it's at 14,566, which actually is a really good sign with only 2 days, because I actually tried to bid on this thing and it went quick. We'll see where it ends up, but you guys know about what I spent for my book, but mine's a 6.0 restored. So this is a non-restored book. Yes, they're saying it's a married cover, but if you go out ahead and buy this book, and I know it's not for everyone, but if you go out and buy this book, you can actually have CGC regrade this book and ask for a blue label. So we'll be talking about a complete book. It will still say that the cover's married and the tapes have the same notations on the cover, but it would come back a blue label. And that's a big deal to me with this book. So keep your eye on this thing. Let's see what it sells at. Because if it does go, in my opinion, over 70,000, I think that's an awesome deal. Like, it's going to make Batman ones go up even more. That's just my opinion. If it sticks to around 50, I would say that's about average for this book, but it should be a little bit more than that. So that's the first one I wanted to take a look at. Let's get caught up on the chat real quick. Okay. Let's see who's in here. So Phil Ang, what is going on, my friend? Thank you so much. You know what? Stay tuned, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to announce while I'm here what the 5K giveaway is going to be. And by the way, Dado F Ducks, you won the Thanos statue. If you don't get back to me by Wednesday, I'm going to give it to the second place winner. So Dado F Ducks, contact me via email. The description, it's in the description of every video I've posted. You have won the Thanos statue giveaway. So do me a favor, get on to me. But thank you so much, Phil. Got the original 1988 Batman The Killing Joke in my collection, written by the great Alan Moore. Dude, I'm going to spoil it. The Killing Joke is on my top Joker list that you should own of the top 10 books. It's coming on Tuesday. Make sure you check out that video. One of the best, in my opinion, the quintessential Joker story that's ever been told. Desired, what's going on, dude? How you doing, buddy? Oh, there he is. What's going on, Rohan? How you doing? Thanks for joining me. Peter Simpson, if you want to jump on, bro, I will give you the, in fact, hold on. I'm going to post the StreamYard thing on here. Give me 1 second. Let me say it all to everybody else. And I'm going to post a StreamYard link in the chat if you want to come on a chat. We are going to take a look at some comic link books while we're up here, though. Jade, Cassie, what's going on? How are you? Ryan, how you doing, buddy? Would you buy first cover before second appearance? Oh, that is an awesome question. It depends on the cover. If the cover is awesome, I'm going to say yes. If it's a classic cover, absolutely. Second appearance, I don't buy too many second appearance books. Like I said before, only if I can get them cheap. So I'm going to say it depends on the book. If the book, the first cover appearance is spectacular, then yes, absolutely. 0.5 would be a shame to part out, but you could sell it for pages. Listen, I wouldn't do that. That Batman 1 and a 0.5, just get it recased. You get that recased and ask for Blue Label, it's going to shoot up in value just from doing that. So keep that in your mind. I'm not buying any books this year because I'm going after my Grail books. ASM 129, TMNT 1, Hulk 181, Cerebus 1, Detective Comics 167, and these books will always hold their value. Absolutely right. You guys know I did a top Bronze Age keys, and I also did a comic book hierarchy video, 2 of them actually, of the investment books that I think are investments. Now, TMNT 1, obviously the best Copper Age book you could own. And, you know, it's quite a big jump in value. It's totally scarce, only 3,000 printed, and even less than that graded by CGC. I want to say like 1,600 off the top of my head. Hulk 181 is a big book, but there's so many copies out there. Same with Amazing Spider-Man 129. I love them, and they will always go up in value because they're popular books. Cerebus #1 is a tough one, man. That is like super scarce, and there's a lot of fakes. I know that a lot of fakes with that book. You have to be very, very careful. So if you're going to buy that book, it's got to be a CGC or CBCS graded book because you just can't take the chance. And Tech 167, also another great book. So give me a second. I'm going to throw up the StreamYard link. Again, all I ask you guys is don't be a jackass if you come on here. Okay. Right. Be respectful. And especially if everyone's opinion. There you go. It's in the chat. So, and make sure your mic and surrounding and video is good, or else I'll have to cut you off as well. But always look forward to talking to you guys. So we have, do you think ASM 129 would continue to go up in value? Yes, it's just going to take a while, right? I mean, if you bought this book, let's say 3 years ago, you did well, 100%. But if you bought it within the past year, you probably lost some money. But again, if you bought it within the last year and you're planning on selling it in the next year, you're not good. You're going to lose money. If you're going to hold on from 5 to 10, and I'm going to say even longer than that, because we went for 5 to 6 years with books just going up and up and up and up and up. Now, last year, we finally got a big decrease. We had a bit of a pullback, but the books are still more than what they were in 2020, right? They're still, if you bought before 2020, and they're up by now. So you're fine. You're 100% fine. I would say it's going to be a long while before we get a big jump again. Very long time. Because as the MCU movies continue to regress and not a lot of people are caring about them anymore, more people have left the comic book hobby. It's going to take longer for things to go up. Like I'll use AF-15 as an example because that book stayed stagnant for like 5 years. But if we go back to 2000, I bought an AF-15 raw, came back at 2.5 from CGC. I paid $4,000 for the book. Okay. What's a 2.5 worth now? I'm going to say close to 30,000 off the top of my head. So yes, that is a Grail book. That's the best Silver Age comic you can buy, in my opinion. So anything you buy, as long as it's a key, in my opinion, will continue to go up in value, but it may take 20 years. So as long as you're a holder, I think you're fine. 8 first prints. There you go. 2 rare 9th prints and a really French killing joke. That's awesome, man. Again, I think it's the quintessential Joker story, in my opinion. It's just, it doesn't get much better than that when we talk about the Joker. I share with you everybody. I'll share with the community. Got an ASM 1 2.0 off Elite Con this weekend. Congrats, buddy. That is an awesome pickup. I know you got a deal for it. So as long as you're not overpaying for books, especially on a Grail book, you are fine. I know that's a big one for you. And again, you plan on holding it for the next 20 years or so. So congrats again, man. All right. So I want to get back while I got you here. Let's look at some of the other comic link sales that are going on right now. So we're going to look at another book that caught my eye because, again, I think there's 90 something copies of this book out there right now, or 119 something off. I don't remember exactly, but we have 2 Superman 1s in this auction. All right. 2 of them, which is crazy. Crazy. So a lot of Golden Age books right now are going up, whether it's on Comic Link, Heritage, Comic Connect. Comic Connect actually is an Action Comics 1 that's a little funky because it's actually, maybe I'll show it to you afterwards. I'll get into it, but they have an Action Comics 1 for sale right now. So let's check out this Superman 1. It's quite a beater copy, but hey, it's a Superman 1. It's a 0.5. It's not complete though. It's extensive restoration. Check this out. It's got color touch, pieces added, tear seals, cleaned, reinforced, reglossed. The back cover is a color copy. A coupon is cut out of the centerfold, does not affect the story, and all 3 edges are trimmed. So this book has had a ton of work to it, but the front cover is real. That's the first thing. All right. Yes, it has color touch. I get it. Trim to me is the biggest issue. I mean, trimmed is a big deal in comic book collecting. It's a big no-no. It's the worst part of restoration, in my opinion. So I just got to tell you, it's just not ideal. But for a comic that only's got 100 or so copies out there, let's say, this book, I'm anxious to see where it's going to sell for because it's still a Superman 1. And I think anybody who would want a Superman 1, this is probably going to be an affordable copy in most instances. So I'm anxious to see where it goes. I may take a shot at this one too. We'll see. But who the hell knows? The next one, before I bring our guest on, because I do see he is backstage, is a Superman #1. This one's a little bit different. Okay. The cover is an actual reproduction cover. So it's not the real cover. It's obviously a no grade. It does have restoration as well. It says pieces added, tear seals, reinforced. Cover is a color copy. So still, it's not a complete book. Obviously, it's missing the cover, but it's still a Superman 1. Yes, it's got color touch and whatever, or I'm sorry, pieces added, but who gives a shit? How many people out there can say they own a Superman 1? 100. That's it. 100. So roughly. I'm sure there's still some raw copies out there as well, but 100 people can say they own a Superman 1. So these 2 copies, I'm anxious to see where they go because anybody who can't go out and spend 100,000 on a comic, these might be in their ballpark. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be $1,000. It's not even going to be 10,000. It's probably, my guess is going to be, they're both going to be around the $50,000 range is my guess. And that's an assumption by me, but let's see, where they go. So let's pause for a second and bring in our guest who wanted to jump on with us, which I'm totally cool with. And anybody else who wants to jump on, I am fine with. Retroactive Man Cave. What is going on, my man? So you're muted, by the way, bud. So unmute yourself, and then we should be good.
I was being respectful and and overzealous with the mute button.
So my name's no problem.
My name's Pete. I'm based over in the UK, and I thought I'd jump on and say hello. I've been watching your channel for quite a long time now and see it grow from like 1,000, 2,000, and I haven't looked at it for a couple of days, and I was amazed. It seemed to jump from 3.8 and then whistle through to 4.1 in like a blink of an eye. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much, man. It's nice to meet you. I listen, we're in this together as a community. So it's always nice to talk to new people, especially have them on the channel, like where I can actually see you and chat with you. So that's awesome.
I could give you a bit of background of what I collect. It's kind of in line with what you do, but I'm kind of revisiting my childhood. Most of my collection is Bronze Age because that's what I grew up with. And I've got a mixture of US and a lot of interesting UK Marvel Bronze Age comics. I'm focused primarily on Marvel, as that's what I grew up with. And what I've been doing is getting my original comic collection out that I bought too many years ago to think about, and filling in the gaps. So I heard you talking earlier about, first appearance, second appearance. What I tend to focus on is I look at a particular comic book, say the Bronze Age Champions, for example. And because a lot of those runs are not too long, sort of 20, 30, 40 issues, I've been rounding out those collections. So I've been looking at things like, one you featured, The Man Called Nova. I remember buying that off a newsstand as a young child. And I had a couple of holes in the collection because, of course, back then it was very difficult to buy old copies of magazines. But with the introduction of the internet and eBay and all these places where you can buy back issues from, it's allowed me over the last few years to go back to some of my collections from the Bronze Age and fill in the gaps. So I'm really pleased now because I'm a reader more than a collector, although I do like to have those nice books in my collection. And it's so good to have a full collection of, say, Miss Marvel, which I think went to 25, 6 issues. I can't remember. You could probably correct me on that. And it's just nice then to read the whole storyline. That's kind of where I come from.
I think that's awesome. Like, I love the Bronze Age. To me, is so underrated as far as reading comics. I will say that. Like, a lot of people, when they collect silver or they collect copper, I don't know. I mean, copper, probably a lot of people read, but silver, I don't know how many people read that stuff. And it was, to me, after when I got older and I went back and kind of read, like, obviously I'm not reading the actual comics. I have like the trade paperbacks and stuff like that I actually went on and read. They were great, but some of the Bronze Age stuff is absolutely amazing. So what titles did you like from the Bronze Age besides Champions? I was shuffling through some books because I have some books I'm going to be selling at a local show I'm going to. I wanted to show everybody, but I have a Champions 1 in there. That's why I was looking for it, but I must have left it in the box.
So I've again, it's I'm sure you encountered the pandemic and everybody got new hobbies when the pandemic came. So in order to sort of enjoy my comics more, the other little project I did was I bought a couple of comic spinner racks. And what I've done is I've loaded those up with my favorite comics. So I've got a US one and a UK one. Maybe another time I could talk about the UK one if you want, because I've got some really interesting stuff on that, which a lot of your readers won't have encountered, and one that you didn't even get in the US, which is Captain Britain, which was a UK comic only before it actually was changed his suit and became more mainstream and appeared in the US comics. But if I go back to my spinner rack and run through the collections I've got on that from memory, bearing in mind these were the ones that I bought when I was a lot younger, and I've filled in the gaps. So in no particular order, although I will mention my favorite first, which is The Man Called Nova. I just love that storyline. It was fantastic. And when I was younger in the UK, it was very difficult to get visibility of the comics when they're released. And The Man Called Nova, as far as I was aware, finished at issue 24. And it was only many years later that I realized there was an issue 25. And I bought that fairly recently and was able to read that and enjoy it. As I say, I'm a reader. But rather than ramble on a bit more, I'll go through the ones I've managed to get full runs of now in my spinner rack, which is The Man Called Nova, Ms. Marvel, The Inhumans. These are all Bronze Age ones. The Champions, which I've mentioned. Some oddities like John Carter, Warlord of Mars.
Oh, wow.
These are the books and the film tie-ins. 2001: A Space Odyssey, again by Jack Kirby, brilliant artist. I've got some of the Star Wars issues. I focused on 1 to 6, which was the original film, number 1
those are the best Star Wars issues to own. I will say that. Not a fan of the modern stuff, but the original run is pretty good.
So I got 1 to 6, and then I think it's around the 40 mark where you've got the run of 6, which did The Empire Strikes Back, including a very difficult to get Boba Fett, which I did manage to get in the end and pop in the collection there. So again, coming to collecting later on, I've kind of learned a lot by watching your channel and others as to some comics which I just want to fill in because I wanted the full run of the 6 issues for The Empire Strikes Back. And obviously I stumbled at the Boba Fett issue because I didn't realize how popular and expensive that particular issue could be.
Yep, absolutely.
Other runs on there, I've got the Eternals. Again, there's a Jack Kirby theme going on here, followed by Machine Man, which kind of that character, as you know, appeared at the back end of the Eternals and then got his own magazine. And then I've got a run of Captain America and the Falcon, which again spans issue 200, which is the bicentennial issue. But I think Jack Kirby did a run. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think it's something like 193 to 220-ish, something like that. But I've got that run on the spinner rack just because I love his artwork, and that sort of finishes that little collection off. Other ones I've got in the rack, I couldn't get them all in, but I put the first 1 to 50, which was a comic I really enjoyed collecting, which was the Marvel 2-in-1 The Thing. Loved old Ben Grimm, brilliant character, but I think the team up and the 2-in-1 issues are brilliant because each month you got teamed up with a different character. So when you've got 1 to 50 in the rack, it's really nice because each month he's, teaming up with a different character.
So it's a lot of I don't want to say obscure titles, but a lot of titles like non-mainstream titles. It's outside of like Miss Marvel, I think, but sometimes those are the best gems because there are amazing stories. To me, I stuck with the main guys like Spider-Man, Batman, because that's when I was a kid, it was just like those are who I reference, like those who I like grew up with. Like Spider-Man was a kid, like Batman was an orphan. So like I kind of gelled with them. I knew what they were going through type of thing. But so that's what I kind of went to. I want to take some questions before we go any further. I'm not going to keep you up too much of your time because we're already a half hour in, but let's take this. Do you think Batman Silver Age first appearances are good investments? So this is a tough question for me. So let's talk about for a second, the main villains for Batman are all in the golden age, right? There are main villains that are all in a golden age, and they're tens of thousands of dollars most of the time. However, if you can't go out and get the first true, the first silver are the next best thing. Do I think they're great investments? Probably not tremendous, but they will hold value always. So my top investment for Batman villain Silver Age is Mr. Freeze, because that is his true first appearance as Mr. Zero. That's one I would always buy because one, you don't see them a lot. There's not too many copies out there. And if you can find them and they look good, definitely worth buying. After that, you have Ra's al Ghul, you have the Scarecrow, you have Two-Face, a couple of others that are the Penguin First Silver Age. They're great books. I just don't know how many bumps we're going to get. You may get one. Don't get me wrong. Over time, if you hold them long enough, they're going to go up in value. But the Golden Age first appearances are better. Investments. So I can think of two examples where I would display second appearance over first. Kang Avengers 23 and ASM 301. ASM 301 second is the second Venom, technically, right? 299 technically is the first. Is the first cameo, I guess, and then 300 is the first actual and then 301. Thing with 301 is the 9.8 is super rare. So if you can get it 9.8, that one's always going to be worth money. 300 is too decorated, but very nice to have if you got right now. I agree with you. Can you do a video of top 20 books in your collection? I know I've done a top 50. I haven't done one in a while, so yes, I will definitely do that. Jared, he sent this comment to me before, and I was like, holy crap, this is one of the best things I've ever heard. Like someone going to a yard sale. He said he went this Friday to a yard sale and found ASM 300 for $5. I think he said. I think it was you who said they found it for $5. That is insane for a 300. I don't care what grade it is. So that's it. So let me ask you a question while I got you, Peter. Like when you were a kid, do you guys have like local comic shops by you? And if so, are they still around?
So comics was not a big thing in the UK when I was growing up. It was something that only geeks did. And it's something that you would go away from the shop in a brown paper bag because you didn't want to sort of let people know you're reading comics. It wasn't very cool when I was young, actually reading comics in the UK. In terms of comic shops, there was general comic shops, but they only stocked the UK Marvel stuff, which is, again, I'd love to talk to you about that sometime. But these were basically weekly comics. They were in black and white, and there were reprints of a lot of the American stuff. they were often had their own original artwork in the center covers and in the actual wraparound cover, which was in color. But so we had these weeklies, which would come out, primarily reprints of American storylines. And in each particular weekly, you'd probably have about 2 or 3 actual comics within there, sort of like a Captain America story, a Spider-Man, an Iron Man, or whatever, all bundled up but published weekly. Just to finish off and answer your question, what about the comic shops and how easy access? You had to find little specialist shops, which are few and far between, which would actually stock US comics in the monthly format in full color. And of course, in the UK, we were starved with color comics. We used to black and white. So seeing a smaller format US comic in color, it just used to blow our minds. How could you get something like this, which is so fabulous? And you're probably aware as well, around about the Bronze Age, what Marvel did, they set up their own organization within the UK, Marvel UK. And they did 2 things. One, obviously, I've mentioned, they produced these weekly UK reprints. But what they also did was they would recover the US ones and mark them with UK currency, sort of 10p, 11p, 12p for the comics rather than US dollars. And they were the ones that I obtained. But in terms of availability, there were specialist shops that you had to make a special trip to. They weren't in your local area. And that's how difficult it was to collect comics when in the UK when we're younger. Moving on, just to finish off, now US comics are readily available in many towns and cities, in big chains like Forbidden Planet and so on. So it is very accessible now. But back in the day, Bronze Age, very difficult to get a hold of.
Yeah, I can imagine. But listen, you're on the hunt still, which is awesome. Like that, being into comics when you're a kid and then getting back into it as an adult is a great feeling, right? Especially with everything that's going on now with the movies and shows. It just kind of brings us back to a similar time, right?
Yeah, I think I never gave it up completely, and I've always bought comics, but I think going back to the older ones is where I'm kind of finding a lot more enjoyment and revisiting some of these stories that I haven't read for 20, 30 years. Fantastic. And I am kind of getting a little bit into the collector scene as well. And also, again, this is probably a question for you. I kind of look at other things as well. Something that I recently picked up, which you probably might recognize, was this thing, which is a special edition.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm really pleased with because I love Spider-Man, and I think this is a limited copy. So a question for you, Lawrence, is how do you rate these particular collectibles as opposed to, the original stuff that you're buying in slabs and so on?
I mean, it's a matter of preference. Now, I don't know how many of those are printed, so I can't comment on the rarity of that. But if it's something like that, if it's limited to a certain amount, yeah, absolutely, it's collectible. I mean, for me, and I've talked about this before, it's about the history, not so much about price. It's about history. So you guys know I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and I'm going to give you a quick example here. I know I've showed this before on a video, but hold on. All right. You see this? I bought this from somebody on eBay, and it's the newspaper strips for every Spider-Man. It's from, hold on, January 3rd, 1977 to January 1st, 1978. So the first year that Spider-Man was in newspaper, this person who collected this actually put this in an album. I have a video on it, but I can't really hold this thing because it's massive. But the care that this person took to put this thing together is absolutely unbelievable. Like, this is what it's about for me. It's about the history. It's about having something that is rare, but it meant something to somebody else. So that to me is what it's about. So if something like that, like I said, if it's limited and it's something that you care about, it's always worth owning. So
I've got one other question for you as well, Lawrence, if you've got time. The other thing which I've stumbled across are these things, which obviously it's a cheaper way of someone like me. There we go. Obviously you probably recognize the facsimile editions.
Yeah.
And again, as you know, I'm a comic reader rather than a collector, although it's great to collect these. And to obtain these in any shape or form, I think I'll need to go and see my bank manager to allow me to buy some of these. But these seem really great. And I think it would be nice to have a piece on these as to which ones are available, because I kind of stumble across them from time to time. But I find it a great way for some of us who are limited on budget to actually getting a piece of history, a real key. I think they're really well produced. Obviously, they're almost like reproductions of facsimile. Just wondered what your thoughts were on these sorts of things.
I think they're great reads. If you haven't read some of these books, they're must owns just for that. And I still buy reproduction stuff. I have both of those as well. I have Giant Size X-Men reprint. I have a ton of those reprints when they come out, but I also collect the Marvel Milestone. I don't know if you know about this, but way back in the day, they were probably the first reprints. I shouldn't say first because I don't know that, but they were the older reprints of some of the bigger books like Hulk 1, Amazing Fantasy 15. I collect those too because I remember walking into a comic book shop and seeing them and it's like, holy crap, holy crap. So it still brings me back to the history of my life, and seeing them on the shelf for the first time, I'm like, wow, those are awesome. So I still pick those up when I can find them for cheap too. So absolutely. Maybe we'll do a video on the best reprints or the most sought after reprints. We could do that. That would be a fun one.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All
right, Peter, I am going to let you go because I want to give a chance to somebody else to come on the channel. But hold on. Do you have a YouTube channel, by the way?
I do. It's called the Retroatic Man Cave. It doesn't just feature comics. It's comics. It's 8-bit computer games, and it's also vintage war games as well. But there is some comic stuff on there. One thing that you might want to have a peruse of, Lawrence, at some point when you get a chance, there is a little video on my spinner rack, and it'll give you the idea of actually what I've got on my racks, and it'll also cover the UK one, which you may want to have a look at. But awesome. thanks for letting me on my show. It's been great.
No, awesome. Everybody check out Retro Attic Man Cave. Give him a sub and go check out what he's got to offer. Thank you so much, Peter. It was great meeting you, and I will definitely check out your channel.
Thanks, Lawrence.
All right, so there you have it. We get to meet another member of the community, which I think is absolutely awesome. So again, the StreamYard link is there for anybody else who wants to jump on, but I definitely wanted to get caught up in the chat and go through some of the other stuff that I wanted to show you guys. So yes, I will do a top 20 comics 100%, but Rohan brought up a great thing. Poison Ivy is probably the second best villain comic that I'd buy Silver Age right now for Batman. Batman 121 is the first Mr. Zero / Mr. Freeze, we'll call him. And then 181 is the first appearance of Poison Ivy. Another book you have to buy with the pinup intact, by the way. So make sure if you own that book or you want to own that book, it has the pinup. But yes, that's probably the number 2 on my list. Everything after the fact, off the top of my head, they're first. It's not their true first appearance. It's only their first Silver Age. Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy are first in total. So Jared says, if you're reading comics, that's fine. If you're investing, it's best to buy keys, low print runs, and rare variants because they'll always hold their value. Yes, but if you're just collecting comics, just make sure you do it on your friendly budget. That's why when I buy keys, and I think they're long-term keys, like I'm willing to spend a little bit. But if they're not, that's when it comes in and we talk about don't let friends overpay for second appearance, because that's not what we want. We don't want to spend money when we don't have to on books that won't appreciate over time. Tom, I don't see many shows focusing on the underground comic movement. Been picking up first print books from the Robert Crumb works. I feel like these may start getting the recognition soon. Do you own any? I do not. I am not too familiar with underground comics. Some independent stuff that comes out now, yes, I am. But outside of that, underground stuff, I have no idea. He got that ASF 300 for $5, but last year he got 2 near-mint copies of Batman Adventures 12 for $2 each. Just got to be patient, do some looking. You can get deals on books, man. It is unbelievable, because imagine going into a yard sale and finding a $2 book that's worth like $800. That's my dream. That is literally my dream. I saw somebody post on Instagram a while back that they found an AF-15 in a box of comics, and the dude sold them the whole box for $20. And I'm like, how come I can't find that? How come I can't get that deal? Who the frick knows, man? Agreed for Batman after Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy. I think 227 and 251 are best buys. So this is a great segue into what I wanted to show you guys, okay? Because in June, I'm going to be doing a local show, and I've never done a show before outside of going to one of my LCSs and setting up outside. They were gracious enough to host me there. But I'm going to show you some books that I'm going to be having at the show, and this is not only the books. I have a ton more that I'm going to be bringing with me that are going to be sale. It's going to be the Garden State Comics Winter Fest. I'm sorry, the Garden State Comics regular show. The Winterfest already passed. The Garden State Comics Comic Festival, or whatever it's called. I'm going to be there setting up to say hello to everybody who lives in my area. So if you live in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, come on down. I'm going to be there Saturday and Sunday. Say hello to me. I'm going to be filming is on there too, so you can be on a future YouTube video. But you just brought up 251, and I have this low grade copy that it's going to be at the show. That's going to be for sale. Nothing is priced here yet, so don't get happy on asking me, hey, I want to buy this book, because I haven't priced anything. But I just wanted to show you some of the books that will be there. We have an ASM 194, one of my favorite Bronze Age keys, First Black Cat. How about this nice Silver Age gem, Silver Surfer #4, iconic cover by John Mishima. This one is a great grade for a raw copy, man. It's absolutely beautiful. Another book, probably my second favorite Silver Surfer cover, FF50, again in a nice mid to low grade. And I'm going to go quick just to show you guys. FF49, First Galactus. This book is taken crushed. If you guys haven't watched my eBay video from last week, it's gotten crushed. First appearance of Werewolf. This book was hot for a minute. What this is, a piece of tape on the side. Get that off of there. One of my favorite covers of all time. Trifecta. First Kingpin, classic cover, and amazing storyline. All right, this one I'm not going to show you yet because that is the 5,000 sub giveaway. First Deathstroke the Terminator. I'll go quick. Origin of Loki, low grade. I don't know what appearance of Carnage this is. Classic Daredevil cover. First Weapon X. Classic cover. We all know we saw this in the movies. Sorry for the blare. One of my favorite John Romita covers. 39, you guys know, is my favorite, but 40 is not too far behind it. Here you go. Classic Spider-Man getting married to Mary Jane. If you guys don't know, there's two covers to this book. There is one with Spidey and one with Peter Parker. So pick up both copies. I have both copies. First appearance of the Scorpion. Classic book. You don't see that in Raw too much. How about this one? None of you guys may not know this. This is the first time Todd McFarlane drew Spider-Man. Okay. It's in this book, Marvel Age. It's predated Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and obviously the Spider-Man title, and a super high grade Marvel Spotlight number 32 in a Raw thing. I actually love Jessica Drew, a very undervalued key in my opinion. So if you don't own that book, I think it's still relatively cheap. Okay. Get back to some of the questions out there. What do you think of Action Comics 1 at Auction Comic Connect? So, Dr. Sean, welcome, my friend, because I am glad you are here, because we were talking about Comic Link. We went over the Superman one there. We went over the, what was it? The Batman one that's over on Comic Link right now that I am also looking at. But we're going to take a look at this book because I want everybody to see this thing, okay? This book is something that you're never going to see in your life again come up for sale. Okay. Let me get it on the screen and I'm going to share it for you guys because this is absolutely remarkable in my opinion. So I am looking to bid on this book. I'm not going to lie to you guys. We have an Action Comics #1 and let's read the notes together. This is a conserved grade. It's conserved NG, meaning it's no grade because it's actually a facsimile cover. But check this out. Conservation includes leaf casting to interior. It's coverless, and the cover and centerfold are color copies, okay? Cover and centerfold are color copies. However, they married original art front cover pieces attached to the color copy with tape. So if you look real close, and I don't think I could get in with a zoom here, unfortunately, but Superman with the car is actually original art that has been pasted inside of the reproduction cover. So let's try this again. It's married original art front cover pieces attached to the color copy with tape. So the original Superman with car is on this book, except for the reproduction cover, which I have never seen before in a comic book. So this book is one of a kind. Anybody who doesn't know, there is 42 copies of Action Comics 1 graded by CGC. 42. That's it. 42. I know Nerdy Girl has a copy. somebody was supposed to come on my channel. He has a copy. I don't know his name again. Hopefully he's still out there and is still willing to come on and show me this thing. But that's 2 people. So we're talking 40 other graded copies by CGC. This is one of them. This book right now is sitting at $46,000. Okay. What's the last AF-15 sale? I don't even know what the hell it was. It's got to be close to $1 million, if not over $1 million. And this book has 2 days left, and it's sitting at $46,000. My guess is this book's going to go for over $100,000 or close to it. But I am litigiously watching this book right now because I would love to place a bid and get it for a decent price. It's a part of history. It's the first comic book superhero ever, and probably one of the most popular. Obviously, Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man are the top 3. So, yes, I think for anybody out there who wants to own an Action 1 and can afford it, this is the book for them. So, absolutely. It's crazy that you even see that. So, wow, lottery. I agree. Calvin says, I just bought 2 copies of New Teen Titans 9, second appearance of Deathstroke for pretty cheap. Good. Like I said, if you get second appearances cheap, I'm all for buying them. It's just the amount you're spending should not be a lot. Dude, I'm telling you, right? I mean, AF-15 for $20, it's the ultimate story when collecting comics. Peter, thank you again for coming on. Silver Surfer 4, amazing. Looking to get the full run of Surfer at some point. Yeah. So, yeah, 251, not only is it a classic Neil Adams cover, but it actually starts Joker back as a homicidal villain. Like, it starts off as like a crazy lunatic clown and then goes off to be some like comical and not very serious. And this book started a run where he goes back to being a homicidal villain. And it is one of the best runs by Neil Adams regarding Batman you'll ever see in comics. Again, Green Lantern 76 is another one as well. That's one I think also started the run for the Bronze Age. So absolutely. Frankenstein book. I'm not sure what you mean by that. We're referring to the Action Comics 1, or we're talking about just the first appearance of Frankenstein in comics. But either way, man, that book for sale is crazy. That Action Comics 1. You're never going to see this thing again ever in your lifetime. And I didn't even show the back cover. The back cover looks like it's pristine, and it says it's original. So it's just the centerfold and the cover that are facsimiles. Amazing. Absolutely freaking amazing. So there is another stream link if anybody wants to jump on again and talk for a little bit. If not, I'm not ending this thing because I have nothing to do today, so we'll just keep rolling. But what is the better time right now? I told you guys I have the Thanos giveaway is done. Dado F Ducks, you're the winner. All you have to do is claim it by Wednesday and it's yours. Email me. But now's a great time to talk about 5,000. Right now we're at 4,107 was the last time I checked. The 5,000 sub giveaway to me is better than the 4,000 because this thing, for not many people may own this book. I think it's an awesome book. One of my favorite undervalued. When I say undervalued, meaning this book should be a lot higher than what it is this book right here. Now it's a low grade beater. It's low grade. But for anybody who wants to own this book, I think it's magical. Okay. Who doesn't want to spend the money? I got an Iron Man 1 for you guys. I know I've shown this on the channel before. It's beat to death, meaning it's got tape all over this thing. Really low grade. I actually think it could be a 1.0. It might not be a 0.5. It may be a 1.0. It may be a 0.5. I shouldn't say that, but it's not that bad. But there's tape all around the bottom of the cover and the entire spine. But I am giving this away to one lucky subscriber of the channel when we hit to 5,000 subs. Okay? This is going to be somebody's. Now, not everybody wants to go out and spend $400 to $500 on, a 3.0 copy of this book. You're going to get this book for free because I love you guys. And you guys got me hanging out with me for 3+ years doing this stuff, and I owe it to you guys. So you guys, somebody's winning this thing. And I can't wait to give that away because that's going to make somebody's dream, in my opinion. For the Action 1, I don't know how high I'm going to go, but like I said, in my lifetime, this is my only shot. This is my only shot at getting an Action 1. My only shot. And thing about what Comic Connect is you have to be approved to bid, and I've never bought from them before. I bought from Metropolis, which is their parent company, but I have to be approved to bid. So I have an email out to them. They said I was approved, but I went to make a bid and they didn't approve me yet. So they better answer me Monday or else I'm going to go nuts. But Vince, if you're out there, buddy, approve me to bid for the max amount because I want to buy this thing, man. There you go. So you guys don't know Vince Rullo is the president of Metropolis Comics and Comic Connect. So I got to get approved to bid. If not, I am also looking at that Superman 1 and that Batman 1 on Comic Link, but I got like 8 days on that one. Jared says, I would say Action Comics 1, Detective Comics 27, AF15 has to be the most valuable comics in the world. So if you haven't checked out my comic book hierarchy videos, I actually go through the best investments, and obviously the best 2 investments out there are Action 1 and Detective Comics 27. But it'd be shocked to tell you that the third best investment and the fourth is Superman 1 and Batman 1. So those are the 3 and 4. Number 5 is AF15. Actually, it might not even be 5. I got to take a look at 5. I think it is 5, but there's a slew of Golden Age books that are ridiculously expensive because of the rarity. So keep that in your mind. AF15, there's a lot of copies out there, but Spider-Man is the most popular character to ever exist. So that I always say to people who say, I know Errol disagrees with me with this one, but there are more Spider-Man fans out there than any other character in comic book history. So granted, there's 3,000 plus copies right now that are graded by CGC. There's probably plenty more raw, and you have some CBCS and maybe even some PGX and EGS books out there. So let's say there's 5,000 at the max, and CGC has 3,600, I believe, roughly. You're telling me that there's not more than 5,000 Spider-Man fans out there that want to own Amazing Fantasy 15? There's probably 100,000 of them. So that's a book that's always going to go up, in my opinion. Yes, it's always readily available. It always will be readily available for somebody who wants to pay, but it will always go up in value because he's so popular. So this is a great thing because I actually told Jason and Errol, if you guys are watching, that we should go ahead and combine and buy this book because I would do it 100%. But just so you know, I actually have another partner that I'm willing to buy this with. So I'm not going to buy it myself if I buy it. Whatever I buy, my next big book like this is going to be with a partner. So we're going to own it together because I don't have disposable income to just kind of let it go. But yes, 100% partnership with another serious collector. When you get to buy like a monster book like this, like an Action 1 or a Superman 1, Batman 1, or those major keys, I think sometimes it behooves you to go in with another collector as long as you trust them. And that's the key word, obviously, trust, right? If it was me, what comic should I try to get first? ASM 129, Hulk 181, TMNT 1, Cerebus 1, Detective 127. I'm hoping I have enough for all of them, but December. Obviously, the rarest one out of all of them is the Cerebus, but I would still rather have a TMNT 1 over that because it's more popular than that. The Cerebus, to like the major collectors, they're probably going to want that book because of how rare it really is. But I'm not a Cerebus 1 fan. I know nothing about the comic. I know nothing about outside of like the rarity, and there's fakes out there. I know that. But the actual comic book story, I know nothing about it. 100%. Obviously, ASM 129 and Hulk 181. There's so many out there. You'll have plenty of time in your life to go out and get that book. So I would eliminate those 2 for now. Always go after the biggest book first, right? The Tech 167 is another great book, but I would still rather have TMNT 1, the first print. If you're talking about the first print, I'd rather have that book because of the rarity. 3,000 printed. I think there's like 1,600 on CGC census that have been graded, and there's probably more out there. But you know that what the print count is. They're not making it anymore. So it's ultra rare. There's a lot of TMNT fans out there. That's the book I would probably go after out of the ones you've mentioned. But like I said, if you can't go out, it's a lot of money. There's a ton of books out there relating to TMNT. We're relating to some of these other keys. So that one's a big one. If you can pull that off, I would say, hell yeah, do that. Any other questions I'm here? And if everybody wants to jump on, you guys are more than welcome. I'm rolling along here because I got nothing to do today. So I went over all the books, and there's going to be so many more books at the Garden State Comic Fest. It's in June of this year in Morristown, New Jersey. I know I'm going to be seeing a bunch of people that I know on the at the show. King Khan is also 2 weeks away right now. It's another show about an hour away from me. I'm going to go down. It's everybody in the community who lives probably within a 2-hour radius are going to be there. I think Otto's going to be there from 3 Men in a Basement. Erod's going to be there. I always run into him when I go to the Clifton Comic Expo. Press Up with Defects, those guys will be there. Gary will be there. A bunch of other YouTubers that are from my area will be there as well. So I'm looking forward to that in 2 weeks. Not sure if I'm going to buy anything, but we'll go and we'll see what's available. Not too much on a buying kick. Told you guys before, there's a comic haul that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Not next week, the week after, you'll see all the stuff that I got. But I want to plug a little bit. If you guys aren't members of the channel, you guys get all my videos early, but also if you're the Mighty membership or up, you get to know what I'm looking to buy ahead of time so you guys know. If you want it and are interested, go for it. Couple other things. I told you, plug time. I still have shirts, Mighty Comics and Collectible shirts, super comfortable. Ask Danny Z2. He knows he has a couple of these things. They are ridiculously comfortable. I've reduced all the prices on my web store, mightycollects.com. Unfortunately, I still got to charge $8 shipping, but they're $20 for a t-shirt, guys. $20 for a t-shirt. And better yet, you see this hat that I'm wearing right now, Mighty Comics and Collectibles. I've reduced the hats to $22 plus $8 shipping. Support the channel, guys. They're awesome because once they run out, I'm not doing any more of the hats, these hats or these shirts anymore. And I'm still looking to do some other stuff, but those have to sell out first. There you go. So how does a partnership work? It's like the Stanley Cup and you ship it back forth every year. So no, somebody's got to agree to hold on to the book. Or for something like that, that's like $100,000, you might be better off keeping it in the bank, safety deposit box, stuff like that. Because if you don't, you have to have insurance, right? You have to have insurance. Insurance is not cheap. For the guys that don't know out there, insurance is not cheap. I have insurance for my books. It is not cheap. I think I pay like $400 something a year, if not probably more. So it is not cheap. Okay. Here's the hat, by the way, guys. It's awesome. It comes in a bag. Really cool. So there you go. I'll leave that up there, but you have to buy the book with someone you know. You'd have to keep it in like a safe place when you're spending that kind of money. A bank probably is the one that's going to do it. Safety deposit box. That's it. Neither one of you get to hold on to the book unless you're willing to, unless your insurance company is willing to secure it in your home and you have it here and the other person's okay with it. That's the only freaking way. Okay. The only freaking way. So that's really it. If I didn't say, mightycollects.com is my website, by the way, to buy the hats and the shirts and whatever. There's some books posted as well. What is your favorite to collect from CGC, blue, yellow, or green? I like the signed yellow copies if the signature is relevant from a cool writer artist. So check this out. I got this thing right here, so I might as well show you. So everybody's got a preference, okay? But everybody's got a preference. Now, this is my Amazing Fantasy 2.5 signed by great Stan Lee. I love the way the yellow pops on this CGC label. To me, it's all about presentation. Like if you're going to own a book and you're going to display a book, it's about presentation. The yellow for the CGC label matches perfectly to the Amazing Fantasy 15 on the book. And it just brings out the cover. Also the word bubbles as well. Just brings out the colors on the book. Absolutely. So it's really preference. If it behooves me to get a signature on a book, I will. And I only have 3 books. I like signatures. I have Stanley, I have John Romita because he's my favorite artist, and I have Todd McFarlane because I grew up loving Todd and I still love him. He's my second favorite artist. So those are the 3 signatures I have. Nothing else. If I wanted another one, I would love to get a Jack Kirby signature on something. I know it's almost impossible. Steve Ditko is another one because I'm a huge ASM fan, especially 1 through 10. So I would love to have their signatures, but they're ultra freaking rare. Outside of that, I don't care if anyone else signs something because I'm not that big of a fan of anybody else outside of the people that I just mentioned. Cable's an awesome character, and I love New Mutants 87, but you got to own that book in a 9.8 if you're going to own it because there's like 10,000 copies. But I love the Marvel shirts too. I have a Doctor Doom shirt. I have a Wolverine shirt. Of course, I wear a lot of my own shirts. I have 3 different shirts that I made for myself, but they're super comfortable. But I have a Captain America shirt as well, Venom, and I have a Punisher shirt as well. So Punisher I love, just the big skull. You guys see me wear it on the channel as well. Bank vault isn't insured. So there you go. There's some information. I did not know that. But if you, like I said, if you have insurance, they should be okay with covering it on a safety deposit box. I wouldn't say a vault. You have to buy a big enough safety deposit box to put the book. And whether it's insured or not, it shouldn't matter as long as you have insurance on the book. They should cover it because it's at a bank. So you have to confirm that with your insurance company. But not too many people are looking to go into bank safety deposit boxes and open up stuff because they don't know what's in it. That takes too much time when you're robbing a bank, I would think. But I'll let you know if I ever decide to rob a bank. I was thinking a TMNT 1 second print because I don't have tens of thousands to shell out. Well, that's a different story then. I'm not a huge fan. They're still ultra rare. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. TMNT second prints are still ultra rare. For me, I don't know. I'm not sure if the best person to answer this because I'm not looking to own a second print. And the Cerebrus number 1, I think would be hard to get rid of at some point because you're not a lot of people are looking to find it. To each his own at that point. It really is to each his own. I know if you buy a Hulk 181, you'll always be able to sell it. I will say that. You'll always be able to sell it, but there's probably 300 other ones for sale at the same time. That's why I don't own a Hulk 181, and that's the reason. Because I could always go out there and buy another one. There you go, Danny. Promote the shirt, buddy. You have 2 of them. You have 1. Your wife has 1. Promote the shirt. It's that freaking comfortable. Great. Another one. Great, Dr. Sean. So I said earlier, and I'm going to see if I can bring the Batman 1 up again from Comic Link, because I don't know if you guys don't know this, but you can actually request a blue label from CGC. Okay. You can request it. That doesn't mean you're always going to get it, but you can request it. Okay. Now, with that said, hold on. Let me bring this up. Here we go. You can request a blue label from CGC. Now, that's why I'm really interested in this book. Yes, I know there's tape all over the book. Still a Batman 1. There's less than 300 copies graded by CGC right now. So roughly, let's say there's 300 copies. Mine is a CBCS copy, and I thought about having it switched out, but I don't like the purple labels. So this CBCS has a blue label that I'm fine with that. If you sent this book back to be recased and asked them to give it a blue label or even to be regraded, I'm sure I have to find out if they're recasing, if they'll switch the label out. I know they'll print a new label. I don't know if they'll actually switch the color, but if you got it regraded and say, hey, I want a blue label for this book, but you can keep the notations the same, they should do it. Okay. You can request when something's missing a page, you could request for the regular grade in a green label or a 0.5 in a blue label. So I've seen 0.5s that are blue labels. I've seen 0.5s that are green labels. If you don't say anything, I think they're more apt to give it a green label. Okay. If you say something, you have a chance of getting a blue label. And that to me is more desirable. So keep that in mind whenever you're submitting an incomplete book or something that has been married or something that is, not fully complete and hasn't been touched. Put notations. I always put post-its on my books when I send them in to be graded, or if I want something to recase saying, hey, do this, do that. Most of the time, they will oblige. There are sometimes whoever you get says, no, F you, and they're not doing shit. They do the least amount of work, and you get what you get. But if you ask, a lot of the times you shall receive. I can't ask for a grade. I can't say, hey, this book's a 2.0, give me a 3.0. No, you can't do that. But you can ask for a specific color label. Sometimes they'll give it to you. So they will cover it. There you go. Awesome. On that safety deposit. Bank won't. Yeah, F the bank. The insurance, as long you have to have insurance. 100%. Oh, wow. That's my biggest thing. Like all my books are here. So, but I have insurance. So I'm covered no matter what. I'm covered under theft. I'm covered under natural disaster. If something happens to the house, or else I wouldn't keep anything here, right? Except for like the low dollar stuff. Got a TMNT lower grade 8.0 is about 18,000. So if you see if you can find a 5.0, and there are some out there, absolutely. Jared, if you could find a lower grade, there's still only 3,000 out there, and that may be the way to go. If you could find like a mid-grade copy of TMNT 1, doesn't have to be high grade. You may be able to get a good price. I don't think anything 10,000 or under is probably a good price for that book in lower grades. There you go, my man. The shirts and hats are very comfortable. You can share these photos of us to help promote. Members go buy my merchandise. Go buy his merchandise. There you go. All right. So keep the questions rolling. We're hanging out here on a Sunday afternoon. We've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. And like I said, I literally have nothing to do today. I actually have some Garbage Pail Kids cards that I have never opened. So I may just open them on camera because I'm bored. But outside of that, told you guys, 5,000 sub giveaway, Iron Man #1, low grade beater, but hey, it's still an Iron Man #1. It's worth more than the Thanos statue I gave away. That 100% right. But that's it. The floor is open. The StreamYard link is out there for anybody else who wants to join me. And we're talking everything relating to comics right now, right? Everything. I do not care what it is. We are here just for you guys and because I'm bored. But yeah, a lot of great books are coming to auction right now. Keep in mind, Comic Link does not have buyer's premium, okay? They have a fee to the seller, but they don't have a buyer's premium. So that's awesome. Like, to me, and there's no, like, they don't add time at the end of auctions. When the shit end, it ends, and that's it. Like, I can't stand Heritage because at the end of the auction, they go to like a live auction, and like, that's ridiculous to me. Like, everybody who's bidding on the app think they won, and then you're going to go over to live auction, and you'll never win. If you win on the app, you'll never win if you're not in that live auction. So I throw out my max bid I'm willing to pay, and if it goes over, somebody outbids me on live, I don't care. Like, and I haven't won anything yet. Comic Link is awesome because you win it, and that's it. It's personal preference, Sean. To me, I only want the first print, but the second and third printings are still rare. So if you can't go get the first print and you want a second or third print, I'm all for it. 100% go get it. It's personal preference. Me, I only want the first prints. I don't really collect too many second or third prints on stuff, unless it's like low grade stuff or cheap stuff that I just want to read. Like, there's some like second or third print. What the hell was it? I forgot. When they had the Immortal Hulk books that they went nuts for a while when they first came out. The stories were really good. Like, I got some second or third prints on books just to be able to read them, but that's it. I'm a CGC guy. I don't have anything against CBCS. I've actually used all three companies, okay? And I've done videos on all three companies of me unboxing stuff, and some of them you have to go way back to see some of the unboxings, but I've had bad experiences with all of them. But the least, I've never really had a issue with CGC outside of way back when in 2000 they took forever to grade my AF-15. That was it, and I was nervous I was never going to get that book back. But other than that, I may disagree with them sometimes on grades. They may print when they print the grade out. Sometimes it's not centered, which drives me freaking nuts. I've had a couple of cracked cases, which sucks. But for the most part, they've been all right. The prices are ridiculous, especially on the economy tier. $80 to grade a book is ridiculous, in my opinion, especially if it's $1,000. You're almost paying 10% on a book like that. I think it's too much money. So CBCS, let me tell you something. What got me with CBCS is this. A couple years back, probably like 3 or 4 years ago, they were going to be at a local show. Funny enough, the Garden State Comic Fest. So I had bought a Fantastic Four #1 and a few other books that were raw that I wanted to get graded. So at that point, I was still determining who I wanted to use. I said, oh, they're going to be at Garden State Comic Fest. I could drop the books off. So I go there, talking to the guy. He's like, wow, this is awesome, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I think this is a 1.0. And that's what, or whatever it was, a 1.0 or 1.5. He's like, this is awesome, blah, blah, blah. Great. He's like, made me fill out the form. It's like, oh yeah, you should have this book back. You know, it's a higher tier. You should have it back within 2 weeks. And the other books, you know, whatever, a month or two, whatever. Great. Drop the books off. I don't hear shit for 6 months. They're not even uploaded into the system. I have no access to know if my books are okay. Nothing. Turns out at that time, they had moved offices from wherever they were over to Texas, and they didn't tell anybody. They did it overnight, didn't tell anybody, and that was that. Dude, it took them a year just for them to record my books. And we're talking about all of them. And that was the last time. I said never again. I ended up getting the books back like a year and a half later. And I said, never again, that you're willing to just move and not tell anybody. People's books are missing. It was a disaster. So I had no idea where the hell my books were, if they were still around. And they weren't garbage. There was an FF1 in there. So I said, you know what? If you don't care for me and to tell me or to do what you say and not tell people you're moving and people are still dropping shit off at shows, that was it for me. Now, they probably have gotten better. I had a conversation with someone maybe about a year and a half ago about getting the new case. So whenever it came out, I said, hey, can I get a new copy of the case to review on the channel? This guy, I talked to him on the phone. He went back and forth with me, blah, 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 blah. Didn't want to help me. So I said, oh, you know what? Done. That's it. So I stick to CGC, and it doesn't hurt that their books resell for the most. It's just the way it is. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I've used PGX as well way back when, and they used, not way back when, it was after they got their new label. So it wasn't too long ago. He had trouble finding my books at one point. He ended up getting them to me, but I wasn't a fan of their cases as well. Other than that, I have no issue with them. I know people do, but I don't like their cases. So what are we talking about? First print 3K. On the TMNT 1, first print is only 3,000. Oh, no, print count. I got what you're saying. 3,000 printed for first print, 6,000 for second print. Rohan, you know how many for the third print? How many were out there for the TMNT 1? Does Heritage sniping tool work? Never tried that. Pretty sure I saw something about it. I've never used it. I just know that I put in my max amount. Sometimes I'll like put in the high bid as the regular auction is ending, but then they go to live auction. So you have to go and live bid as well. And I'm not all about that. Like, if you're getting, what is the point of that? So does everyone in the world not have access to the app that they need a live auction too on some of this stuff? That makes no sense, because after I bid on the app, I got to go bid in live now. What is the point? No, that sounds to me like they want to shovel books off to other collectors who are willing to do the live thing. That's all. Maybe they have some of the bigger guys out there that want to buy some of the books live. That's what it seems like to me. That's why I get annoyed. Third print, 36,000. So I would stay away from the third print. 6,000 is still not bad for the second print. I love John Bernthal's take on the Punisher. I thought he was fantastic. I thought the first 2 seasons of the show on Netflix were fantastic. That scene with him and Kingpin, where he's at the top and then he has to go through all the guards. One of the best shot scenes, in my opinion, ever. Like, it was awesome. That's how the Punisher should be. And unfortunately, we're never going to get to see that in a Disney movie, but that thing was awesome. I'm excited. Yes. I hope they use him right. He doesn't have to be insanely bloody like he was there, but he's got to stay true to character. So yes, I'm excited to see him go at Spider-Man, and that's what I think we should see. Maybe him go at Daredevil first, then him show up in the Spider-Man universe. Very cool. I'm not too sure how many of those are out there. A TMNT 1 2009 color misprint signed by Kevin Eastman is awesome either way. Yeah, I know this about the Killing Joke. The Killing Joke 9th print is ridiculously expensive because it is super rare, right? What color is the printing on it? That's what I don't remember. I was looking at trying to look at this book the other day when I did that Joker video, but I couldn't remember what the coloring was. The original has the green print, but what is the 9th print, the color? You guys let me know if anybody knows the answer to that one. What were we talking about before that? I forgot. Either way, like I said, to each his own on the TMNT. You gotta. I still think it's an ultra rare book. There's way more Punishers and Hulk 181s than there is a second print TMNT, so it's still worth it, in my opinion. And still more people out there looking to buy that book than some of the other books because of the rarity. You know what? Drop me comments down below if there's something you're looking at. Like Jared came up with the TMNT and ASM 129, Hulk 181. Like, he's looking for those books. Anybody out there look for something specific right now? I know Rohan, he just got 2 big books. He got a 129 and a 181. Rohan, what else are you looking for right now? Are you taking a break? I'm definitely taking a break, but the members of my channel know the things that I'm looking for right now. You guys will eventually see them when I unbox them, but and the Superman one and the Batman one there. That's just like a crazy dream. I guess I want to see where those books go because again, they're anybody who can't go out and get a blue label where they're hundreds of thousands of dollars, like this is for everybody else. So I think they might go higher than people expect. JR, what's up, buddy? So anybody who doesn't know, he actually messaged me on Instagram yesterday, and he had a ASM 31, first Gwen Stacy, first Harry Osborn at a local shop by him, and he asked my opinion on it. And I gave him my honest thing. I said I wouldn't pay more than this for it. You know, I gave him what my estimated grade was. It looked like, to me, it looked like around a 4.0. So I said, this is what I would pay for that book, and that's it. But it did look like a nice presenting copy. So I said, if you pay up for this for it, I'm good with it, whatever. And he got it for under that, which is awesome. So I'm happy to hear that, JR. I'm always willing to help anybody out, you know, the best I can. Hey, sometimes you need advice, man. When I bought my Batman one, I fucking called Errol. I'm like, listen, he's the golden age guy that I trust right now. And he's not a dealer. He's, you know, he's a friend of mine. And I said, listen, I said, he's got this Batman one. This is what he's asking. What do you think of the book? I said, it's CBCS, it's restored. And we went on for about a 15-minute conversation. And I was at the Stairmaster, not the Stairmaster, the elliptical at the gym when we were talking. And I'm like, you know, I gave him the pros, I gave him the cons, and we just kind of talked through it. And he said, you know what? 20 years down the line, are you going to care? He's like, you're not going to go and sell this book now. So what's the difference, right? He's like, if you have to overpay by a couple thousand, does it matter? It's such a rare book, 300 copies. And I said, you're right. He said, it's like, the only thing that matters is, was I going to wait for a 0.5 blue label, or was I going to go after a restored book? Because blue label, the 0.5 is the only thing I'm going to be able to afford. So I said, am I going to wait? Would I rather have a blue label? Yes. No question. But even blue label, to be present well and to be complete, I'm still going to say it's going to go over 100,000 or close to it if it presents well. That's why I said this green label Batman 1 is a dream right now, because if it goes for like 50 to 70, I think that's a good buy. I do. So long story short, everybody needs somebody in the investing community to kind of bounce shit back and forth. And I'm happy to do that for everybody. You know, as long as I can help. I may not be I'm not the end all to be all when it comes to comic collecting. So I will never say that, but silver, I think that's up my alley. 100%, especially Silver Age Spider-Man. I'm your guy. I've been hearing some chatter about Spider Smasher. I believe it's Miles' sister, Billy. First appearance, Miles Morales, 38. Anyone else hear about her? I haven't heard anything about it. I will still say if it's a modern book, I'd rather have, you know, Ultimate Fallout 4. And even now, if that book's going to take a long time for that to go back up, he's going to have to appear in his own live action for it to go back up. It's gotten massively crushed. We're talking about the high in 9.8 for like 4,000. Now, I think the last sale off the top of my head, I saw posted for 1,700. So, you know, you lost 75% of your money if you bought at the high. And I'm an advocate for the book. I want to own the book, but, and only in a 9.8. Okay. But if you're willing to hold, you're going to be fine. If you want to get out in the next 3 years, don't buy it. So he wants an X-Men 1. So that's his next book. X-Men 1 is his next book. So everyone out there looking for something, drop in. I want to hear what you guys are looking for. X-Men 1 is a big one. And it's what they're saying right now. The X-Men are not going to show up anytime soon outside of Secret Wars, which you're going to get the Fox X-Men. It's the red print. So the Joker, Killing Joke is the red print on the 9th print. That is the most valuable one. Even the first print is only like $200 and a 9.8. So, but that red print, I don't know what they're going for now in a 9.8. I could imagine it's probably a fortune. Been buying pre-code horror lately, but the prices are getting pretty crazy. Also, I'm always buying Golden Age Superman and Batman, and those are pricey also. I know about the prices on Superman and Batman because all the good keys for Superman and Batman, the Golden Age stuff, are a freaking fortune, man. If you're going to spend a fortune too, you might as well buy like a big key. So that's the way I look at it. Outside of the classic covers, which I love. Pre-code stuff, I've collected it in the past, but I've actually had a Tomb of Terror 15. I've had a Black Cat Mystery 50 in my collection. But I let them both go because they weren't appreciating fast enough, and I wasn't in love with them as I am, you know, Silver Age Marvel and Batman DC books. Yeah. There you go. I'm your insurance policy. Well, keep in mind, I did tell him it was a Roebuck that make sure there's no resto and it's complete. And if it wasn't, that was a good buy. So Oh my God. Don't even get me started on this. I'm with you, man. I can't even look at that shit. There's so many people in this world, not just in the collecting community, who bow down to everything else. You know, this character came out in the 1973, I think it was. And now all of a sudden we're going to change something 50 years later. You know what? Grow a sack, right? The Punisher that skull is meant to be what this character is. Has family taken away, and he took vengeance on those who did bad things, right? That's it. So anybody using that logo and something other than that is bullshit. Okay? If someone wants to don that Punisher skull and go around, you know, hurting the really bad people in this world who do awful shit to other people, you have my blessing. Other than that, if you're wearing that logo and you're not a Punisher fan, I don't want to hear it. You're my ASM guy. Thank you, bud. Killing Joke Night Print is red letter. Yeah, we got that. It's again, I searched eBay for it and I couldn't find one. So that's how rare that book is. I could not find one on eBay right now. Just some crazy stuff out there right now. But yeah, drop me comments down below what you're collecting right now. If anybody's looking for something, I know Rohan said X-Men 1. Anything exciting coming to the MCU? I'm looking forward to the Daredevil show, but I think we got another year on that before we even get, you know, snippets of that. What's coming out this year? Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which they've already missed the boat because they delayed that so much. And I don't forget who I was talking to. We were talking about Adam Warlock. And I said, the reason those books tanked is because that character was supposed to come for Infinity Gauntlet or Endgame, right? That character was supposed to show up for Endgame. And because they delayed that movie, he didn't show up. And now how are they going to use the character? They ruined the perfect plot point for him to come into the MCU. And that's why that book tanked. I love Adam Warlock, but they should have brought him in for Infinity War and Endgame. So that's my beef with that. Other than that, you know, I'm not really looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I heard it's going to be a good movie because I heard some other spoilers, which I won't get into, but not looking forward to Miss Marvel or the Marvels, I should say. And Ant-Man I saw already, and I thought that was pretty decent. I don't know why everybody's complaining. He's Ant-Man, for God's sake. He's not Spider-Man. So what were you expecting? Shocked at what happened to Kang at the end, but there's going to be a good explanation for it. So I'm not too panicked like everybody else is. But it was a very entertaining movie. And that's all I expect from an Ant-Man movie. I'm not expecting Endgame. Secret Invasion comes out on Disney Plus soon, I think. So that was a good storyline in the comics. And I know it's not just going to end with the show. You're going to see some stuff like we saw at the end of Ant-Man. I don't want to spoil it as well. If you saw the end credit scene, you're going to see something as well that ties along in there. I have a feeling that's going to be a bigger storyline than people think. Fatal, my man. I'm collecting high-grade Copper Age Canadian price variants, especially Marvel. You know who does that also? Errol likes to buy price variants from different countries. So that can be a great way to buy some really rare books that nobody talks about is price variants, especially, you know, from other countries. But even from our country, like Star Wars 1 price variant, Eternals 1 price variant, those are go for some crazy amounts of money. So if you could find them, they're ultra freaking rare, ultra rare. That's an awesome thing to be collecting because not a lot of people look for that stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything out there that I wanted to cover that we didn't cover yet, but off the top of my head, I don't think there is. But like I said, we're just hanging out today. Just hanging out. Who's your favorite outside of me? Because I don't want to throw do you guys watch anybody on YouTube that like you're like, I don't miss a show or like you have to watch his stuff? Because I would love to hear it because outside of like the regular guys that I watch, there's not too many people out there that I think like are entertaining and give great knowledge. I agree. If you're going to buy Killing Joke right now, and if it's not the 9th print or the first print at a 9.8, which is not expensive, it's only $200. Like I said, if you could find one signed by Alan Moore at a 9.8, oh, that shit would be ridiculous. That would be a lot of money, I would think. You know, this is a great question, Peter. So I spoke to another overseas collector from the UK, and he had a ton of amazing Spider-Man, but they were all Pence variants. And They are more rare. Don't get me wrong, but they're worth less money, unfortunately. So I am not a UK's pens collector. The variants are worth less. They're even though they're more rare, which is kind of backwards. So I am not a UK pens variants, but I know other people out there are. So they are collectible, 100%. But the price paid is less. So Batman 11 is the card cover, right? Right. That cover, if I'm speaking correctly, with the card cover with the Joker on the front, is one of my favorite freaking Joker covers out there. So I told you this already, and I'll share it again. Let me see if I could find it again. I had it here before. Yeah, there it is. I am doing on Tuesday of this week. Okay, Tuesday of this week, this is coming out, this video, top 10 Joker comics. Now, I know we're talking about covers, but this book may or may not appear on the top 10 Joker comics I want to own. So I'm not going to give you the answer to that question. Let's just say that cover is freaking awesome. One of the best Joker covers out there, 100%. So watch that video and you will get your answer. Promise. Kevin the Comic Doctor. I haven't heard of him. I have to look him up. I'm not familiar with him. I'm checking out. I will definitely check him out. I'm glad I didn't buy Eternals 1 for 1K when the movie was coming out because that book dropped like a rock. When they first announced that movie, I bought the book and it skyrocketed. I doubled it, but my copy, it was like a 9.2, so I didn't make a ton of money, but I made money on it. But if you bought that book at the hype, man, you took a dump, man. Listen, Jack Kirby's great, and that story is very good too, but it was never going to be what everybody was going to say it was going to be. That's why I have to be careful in this hobby. There are people that promote books that shouldn't be promoted. I knew that it was going to be a desired book, so I bought it, but I spent like $100 on the book. I think I sold it for like $250. So it's all about what you're willing to spend the money on. If you bought a book for $1,000, there's plenty of other books out there that I'd rather spend $1,000 on. That's how you have to approach it, right? I'm going to spend $1,000. What do I want? Do I want a Turtles 1, or do I want, an ASM book or a Batman book or whatever you collect? It's always what you want to collect first, because it's always worth it then. Yes. So yeah, I think it was like the card cover. I love that cover, man. Absolutely love it. If there was a Batman Joker book that I was going to buy that's not Batman 1, that might be number 2. But stay tuned for the video on Tuesday, I promise. And then comment and let me know what you think on where I have it ranked, okay? Let me know where I have it ranked if I did a good job. Mary Marvelite, not a comic collector's channel, but some great content. Another one I definitely have to check out. I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard of that one either. That's the thing about YouTube, man. They don't promote some of the good channels, and I don't know why. It took me forever to get to 4,000, ever. And I think I got a pretty good YouTube channel. I'm not great, don't get me wrong, but I spent a lot of time coming up with ideas and then, putting down all the information and then even editing. I had to teach myself how to use editing, make thumbnails. I put a lot of time and effort into this stuff. So I hope you guys do enjoy it. All right, so I cover this book, The Last of Us, #1 on the Hot 10 every week, and it's been like all over the list for the past month. I have never read the book. I know it's a show now, and people say the show is great, but I know nothing about the book itself. So at this point, it's already $1,500 for a 9.8. At this point, am I going to buy what's a Walking Dead #1 at a 9.8 go for? Someone know the answer to that off the top of their head? So I would wait. If you want to own this book, wait for it to come down. You may not get the chance. I do not know, but I'm not spending $1,500 on a 9.8. In my opinion, it only has to be a 9.8 because it's a modern book. So keep that in your back of your head. I'd rather spend $1,500 on an ASM key because that's just me. But if you love the show and you love the book, maybe it is good buy. I don't know. Oh, I know Mint Hunter. No, I check. He's got a fantastic voice for YouTube, and he probably do great on the radio too. But he's got a great voice for YouTube. He collects a lot of everything. So some of his videos they're a little long for me, so I get not as entertained because there's a lot of stuff. He does a lot of CGC unboxing. He goes to like yard sales and buys books. So some of them tend to go on a little long, so I lose interest. But he is phenomenal at speaking on YouTube. And he gives a lot of great information as well for other books that I don't necessarily collect, but that you guys might. So he's phenomenal. He's got a lot of subs too. So he's very, very entertaining. There you go. Self-promotion. There's nothing better than that. Rohan, if you guys haven't checked out Absolute Game of Nerds, they do podcasts, YouTube podcasts with JP, I believe his name is. Go check them out. I was on their show a couple of weeks back. So you get some interesting information about how I came about doing YouTube and what I collect, blah, 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 if you don't watch my channel religiously. But yes, definitely check them out. Presentable Defects is another one. I look forward to meeting them again this year at King Con. They always do a good live stream. Always have good information on their channel as well. Very entertaining. But the only thing with them, I don't think they do they do live shows, but I don't think they do like regular videos. Or if they do, I don't really see them put them out often. So that's the one thing. Like they do a lot of live stuff, which are great. Otto, obviously 3 Men in the Basement I watch. He does a lot of live stuff. So I can't always catch them live. So that takes away from it a little bit, in my opinion. Like when you catch a live show and you just got nothing to do and you're just watching, I think it's awesome. Like there's nothing better with like communicating with people in the chat, watching what they're saying, listening. But if you like a lot of the videos I put out are just like standalone videos. So there's not a lot of them that catch my attention that make me watch for a long period of time. Automatic's another guy that I watch sometimes. But again, some of the videos it's a lot of unboxing. So if you're into some of the stuff that he's unboxing, I think he's great. Gives a ton of information. Again, another guy, ton of information. Puts up, last price data. Another one, Swag, Bryce, Automatic, Como are my top other. Como is actually very, very entertaining. If you watch his videos, another guy who's got a great voice for videos. Awesome. Great voice. His setup is beautiful. Dark background. He's got some of the lights in the background. Another tries. I consider him along like myself. He puts a lot of videos that are just not live streams, that are just content based, we're going to shoot the information at you. We're going to try to entertain you. It's going to look nice. He's awesome. I watch him a lot. He's got a lot of top videos. Like I have a lot of top videos. Very, very entertaining. Automatic, again, same thing. Swaggle, a lot of information. These guys also have a ton more subs than I do. So a lot of people are watching them. Swaggle puts a ton of work into his stuff. I will say that. He's always coming out. If you saw some of his videos with where the prices have been to where they're going, he's got almost like a formula to shoot out, or where some of the books might be where they're good buys. It's fantastic. So again, some of the top guys in the YouTube community relating to YouTube. How about Comic Tom? Anybody follow Comic Tom? I actually reached out to him because he wanted to do some interviews of some smaller comic channels. So said he would do it. I'm waiting to hear back on it. Comics and Chaos. I haven't seen. I know who Rage Theo is, but I don't know that they have. I didn't know they had a YouTube channel. So that's another one I got to check out. See, a lot of people get filtered on YouTube, which I freaking get annoyed at, because you know how long it took me to find like some of the shows that I actually watch now? I'm on YouTube forever, and they don't promote some of the stuff that I watch now, which is ridiculous. So a lot of the time, we rely on each other to kind of share videos or like or subscribe or anything we can to get the word out on stuff that we enjoy. That's why I ask, who do you guys watch? Because sometimes I get, I don't find good people. And when you do searches, not everybody comes up. 9.9, I just followed not too long ago. I know he was just on your show as well. I actually started following him once I saw that he was on your show, because I didn't know who he was either. So yes, Fatal, dude, I would love to do more action figure stuff on the channel. A guy I love, two guys. One of the guys doesn't do stuff anymore, unfortunately. I forgot his name. But he closed his YouTube channel because I guess there's too much going on. I met him over at New York Comic Con this year. I forgot what his channel name was, but the guy I really love is a local guy. Actually comes into the GameStop right next to where I work. Calls himself Daddy, but he just posted a video the other day. Let me see if I can find his name. But his channel is phenomenal because he actually does a great job of entertaining. What the hell is his name? I can't believe I'm forgetting this now. He just got freaking married, and congratulations to you, bud, if you come across my channel. But one of these days when he's at the GameStop, I'm going to go say hi because he's such a great dude. Here you go. Century TMC. That's his name. Century TMC. One of the absolute best YouTubers to watch when we talk about action figure. Does a lot of hauls and hunts and stuff like that. Yes, I do. There's a couple other guys. One guy is in Canada that I watch all the time. Mega J. He does a lot of hauls, a lot of action figure stuff. I collect Masters Universe Origins and Spider-Man Retro. I don't know if you can see it behind me. Those are the only two action figure stuff I collect. I was a huge Masters Universe fan growing up, and I still am today. So I collect the new ones, the Origins, which the line is about ending right now. But some of those action figure channels are better than the comic book channels right now, in my opinion. Here, let me take this off. Avenging Spider-Man #6 variant is the coolest Punisher cover. Can you pull it up and give me your thoughts on that cover? All right. Avenging Spider-Man. What was it? 6 variant. Let's see if I can pull it up. But you're going to have to help me if this is the right one or not, because I ain't going to know. It says Granoff variant. Here, let me share the screen, but I don't know if that's it or not. Is this it? Let me know if that's the one you want. This is not the Punisher cover, so obviously not. Hold on a second. Let me go back. You said it's a Punisher cover. I doubt this is it, but is this it right here on the right? Let me know your thoughts if that's the one. If this is it right here, this is the only Punisher cover I see for this Avenging Spider-Man #6. Unless you're talking about like this one here with the this has to be it, right? This has to be what you're talking about. That's a pretty cool cover. You let me know. The one with the skull is pretty cool. The other one I'm not too crazy about. I'm the same with you, Fatal. I collect the villains only. I have one Spider-Man that was given to me by Danny Z2, who's a follower and a good friend of the channel. He gave me the Spider-Man, the newest one that came out. Other than that, I only collect the villains too. Like they have like Daredevil and some of the other ones. They have the wave that they just announced. I'm not a fan of either. Like they have like Miles in like his first costume with the shorts and the sweatshirt and the mask. The main villain of that line I wasn't a fan of growing up, so I'm not going to collect that one. And they have like Spider-Woman, which is a cool figure, but I probably won't buy that. I want the true Spider-Man villains, and we got a lot of them. The Kraven is actually a Walmart exclusive, and I was supposed to freaking pre-order it. I don't know if it's out yet on Walmart, but if it is, somebody please let me know if they got that. If you Fatal, did you order that? Because I might have missed it on a pre-order then if it came out, because it was supposed to be last weekend, I think. But I may be wrong on that one. I'll check it out later. But Peter, it was great meeting you, my friend. Check out his channel, guys. Again, whenever I do like an impromptu, I always invite anybody to come on who just wants to chat, because we're just kind of shooting the shit. And I'll probably go for another 20 minutes or so, and then I'll shut it down. It's 2 hours. It's, I don't need to go, crazy with anything else. But like I said, I got nothing to do. It's a Sunday here. It's 2:15. Daylight savings. We're just hanging out. So. And yes, I'm still drinking coffee at 2:15 in the afternoon. But yeah, like I said, YouTube wise, I still watch Comic Tom. I actually find his channel very entertaining. I don't do a lot of new books, so I don't, I don't subscribe to his subscriber thing that he does where he gives out the books. But he got me into the top 10, right? The hot 10. He doesn't break them down, but he gives the information out. I give you my opinion every week on if I'm willing to buy the books at these prices. That's the only difference. But he's very entertaining. Seems like a good dude. I don't know why people go on to hate. He sells books. People got to know what they buy. So it's on the buyer, yes, but too much hate's thrown around with some of these people. He's not a dealer. He gets people into the into what we collect, right? He gets people excited about comics, and that's a good thing. Now, before anybody buys anything, they should be doing their due diligence, right? That's why I don't buy modern stuff, because I don't know enough about it to buy it. Like, I know some of the big keys and stuff like that, but that's it. Like, if you want to talk about Amazing Spider-Man or Silver Age books and some Bronze Age Marvel, I'm your guy, 100%. Like, we can have conversations all day long. But modern stuff, I'm not going to say yes or no. I'll just tell you what I think, and that's it. But it's very entertaining. Very, very entertaining. So the pre-order craze not made public yet. I heard that's been released the 16th of March. Yeah. So I thought we could pre-order it this past weekend. Maybe I'm wrong. So maybe it's next weekend then, or maybe during the week. So the 16th is, I forget the date, but today's the 12th. It's Thursday. So I definitely pre-ordering that thing. It looked pretty good. But they're running out of villains, right? They're going to have to go to like this tertiary villains now from now on for this retro line. That's why I think the next wave is not too great. But I think they still have to do. They did Venom. Venom was an exclusive, and I don't have that one yet because it's a fortune. But some of the other villains, like they still need to do. They just did Hobgoblin. They did, Sandman. They did a couple of other ones that I'm not huge fans of, but they do need to do some other ones. I'd like to see a Punisher one in that line. That would be cool. Yeah. So that was a skull cover. It's pretty cool. I'm not paying $60 for it though. I don't pay up for variant covers. If I get them for cheap, I might, because if I really like the artwork. But to each his own. Some people like that stuff. They collect, cool covers. Like I had those. I bought a modern collection a few years back, and I had those Alex Ross, covers with just the character and the white backgrounds. I had all of them in that collection. I sold them for like pretty cheap. They're awesome, but for me, I wasn't going to hang on to that stuff. I have limited room here, so I try to keep the stuff that I really love. I'm sure everybody knows who Comics Explained is. His channel is freaking awesome. If you ever need to know something about comics, go to his channel because he's got tons of amazing content and he's got art showing throughout these videos explaining the storylines. If you just want to listen to somebody talk about a story, his channel is amazing. So that's why he's got 1 million subscribers, man. But awesome. Probably the best comic channel there is. Very, very cool. So don't forget, guys, 5,000 subs. We're only less than 900 away now. We just gave the 4,000 one away. If he claims his prize, if he doesn't claim by Wednesday, it's going to somebody else. 5,000 sub giveaway, Iron Man #1. T-shirts available at the store, $20. Hats are $22, as you guys can see. They're awesome. They fit good. They look good. We're ready to roll. Oh, it's a straight podcast. So there you go. Geekable Pod is a straight podcast, not on YouTube. So you're in the car, listening to a podcast, they might be the one for you. So this is a great question. First appearance of video game characters. So we're talking about video games, like graded video games, or actually in comics. So clarify what you're asking. I'm not a huge proponent of video game collecting. I think that shit's way overpriced. I bought a few when they first came out, and I thought they were overpriced, so I sold it. I thought you have to be like crazy into video games, in my opinion. A lot of people can make a lot of money on that stuff if they got in early, but some of the stuff is just outrageously priced, in my opinion. Like I get some of the shit super rare, especially if it's sealed, ultra rare, but I'm not really my thing. I love, obviously, I've arcades beyond arcades here, so I'm definitely an arcade person, a video game person, but I couldn't have fathomed spending the money on that stuff. In comic books, I'm not a huge, like the first appearance of Mario in a comic, maybe definitely worth something, but am I going to collect it? No. Like the one book that I would collect regarding to cartoons in comics is the first appearance of He-Man, because that's what I'm really into. But even then, it was so expensive for such a long time. It has finally come down. If you guys haven't checked out the last eBay video I did, which went nuts, 8,300 views, I go over that book, how important of a book that is to me, but it's got to be what you're willing to pay for it. I'm not spending $3,000 on that book. I don't even want to spend $1,000 on a 9.8 of that book. It's just not worth it. I'd rather own If you're familiar with Master Unit Origins or even the original line, first series 8 back, which is 8 figures on the back of the card, is worth first He-Man is worth a shit ton of money. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I will buy that, not the comic book. I agree. I'm not into the Venom movies. I like Venom the character, but once they announced that, and I like Tom Hardy a lot, but once they announced that he wasn't going to have the emblem on his chest of the spider, I was done with the movie right there. And I saw the first one just to see it, but I don't change the way the character looks, right? If you go back in some of these early Marvel movies, and I'm not talking about the MCU, I'm talking about, go way back where they changed the appearance of the character. That's why these movies don't do well, because you're changing everything about the character. Just like the Fantastic Four now, they're talking about all these changes to characters, which they should not do because people are going to get annoyed and they're not going to like the movie. They're not going to go see the movie. There are some interesting fits, which I've discussed before, which I think they actually might be good, but don't change the source material. That's why people get annoyed when they change the Punisher skull. I understand why they're doing it, but the comic book fans get annoyed. And that's who you're catering to. I get you're trying to make these movies and these shows for people who are not true comic book fans, and maybe they're not going to care, but the people who do love this stuff, they get pissed off. So don't change source material stuff. If you have to change little things here and there, I'm all for it. But when you're changing the look of a character, and I bring up a great point. How ridiculous in the first Avengers movie did Captain America look in that stupid suit? He looked ridiculous. The suit didn't look right. It looked like that suit didn't look right. Granted, it was a good movie, but if you go back to the Winter Soldier, you go to, granted, Avengers came first. Winter Soldier, even the first Captain America movie, he looked better in those movies. And obviously, after on, they got it totally perfect with Civil War and then Infinity War and Endgame. Like, when you change the shit, and granted, they didn't change it. They just didn't do it right. They have to make it modern. Don't change stuff, please, Marvel, DC. Like, that's why, like, another instance I gave is a Superman movie with Henry Cavill. Again, entertaining movie, a good movie. It was too dark for a Superman movie. Too dark, way too dark. Superman's supposed to be light and heartfelt and true and good person and whatever. And one, you have him snap Zod's neck at the end of the movie. So no, too dark. He had no red underwear, which is, to me, it's not Superman. I understand for a portion of the comics they did that, but don't change the source material. And that's why DC got into a ton of problems. Batman versus Superman, the movie was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. If you're going to do a Batman versus Superman, why not do The Dark Knight Returns? Do that movie. That would have been awesome if they just went word for word from the comic and made that into a movie. That movie would have kicked ass, and maybe Snyder's stuff would still be going on. But because they changed the source material and came up with some ridiculous ass storyline, it didn't work. It didn't work. It was freaking terrible. Sorry for my rant, but stick to the source material. Stick to the way the characters are supposed to look. I don't want to hear that they're going to... Why do you think the Fantastic Four reboot with Miles Teller? Yeah, the story was awful, but how many people out there were going to go see that movie anyway? Miles Teller is a great actor. Phenomenal actor. Michael B. Jordan, phenomenal actor. Don't change characters' appearances. If you do, it has to be subtle. Or people have to buy into it, right? Robert Downey Jr. is fucking Tony Stark. Chris Evans is Captain America. Anthony Mackie is the Falcon. Great casting. Another one, Alfred Molina is Dr. Octopus. Perfect casting. William Dafoe is the Green Goblin. You'll never see those characters again anymore, because unless you'll see them in the Miles universe, because you may see that. Yeah, I mean, I get it. They're trying to make money. I'm not going to fault them for trying to make money, but you got to stick to the source material. Change things here and there, like on a character that is not too beloved. Like Ant-Man. I think all 3 movies were very entertaining. They're not blockbusters, but people went nuts how this movie wasn't great, blah, blah, blah. It's an Ant-Man movie, for God's sake. It's not freaking Avengers Endgame. It was entertaining. And if you didn't like it, okay, I thought it was fine for what it was. I don't know why Ms. Marvel gets all the hate. I think, I think Carol Danvers, I wasn't a fan of the character, but I thought it was fine. She didn't really belong in Infinity War Endgame. That they pushed that. But the reason they pushed that is because Adam Warlock wasn't there. And they screwed that up when the whole James Gunn got fired and they brought him back, blah, blah, blah. That was supposed to be Adam Warlock. I know. They try to make it too friendly for everybody, and they can't do that. They have to do it right. They could, like I said, they could change some storylines so we don't know what's coming, and that's fine. Like in Endgame, they changed the storyline. That's not what happened, but it's fine because it was very entertaining and you stuck to most of the source material. Not all of it, obviously, but it's okay. But my more of the beef is I don't care if you change the storyline a little bit. Don't change the character. The character is what the people are loving, right? They're in love with the character. If you're gonna make, that's why I think John Krasinski should be Reed Richards. To me, he looks exactly like him, and he's a good actor. Some people loved him, some people didn't. Blah blah blah. It wasn't a fan of what they did with him in the movie, but if that's not our universe's Reed Richards, it doesn't matter. If he comes here and it's still John Krasinski, I think people are going to love it. They're going to go see the movies. He's going to carry the next phase of the MCU, and they're going to be fine. They bring in another actor to play Reed Richards, who to me is the second most important figure in Marvel Comics now. Iron Man wasn't in the comics. He was in the MCU. Reed Richards is the most important man in comics, okay? For Marvel. If they F this character up, they're done. They're absolutely done. If they do it right, they're going to be right back where they were. I shouldn't say he's number 2 after Spider-Man. I misspoke. Spider-Man is the most important one by far. It's not even close. After that, it's Reed Richards. So I'm really anxious to find out who's playing him. Ben Grimm is another great character that they have to get right. I think the Human Torch, I don't think they could screw it up too bad. He is what he is as a character. So I think they'll be fine with that one. And same with Invisible Woman. I think as long as they resemble what they're supposed to resemble, they're going to be okay. But Ben Grimm and more importantly, Reed Richards have to hit. If they don't, I think it's lights out for Marvel and Disney. They can't rely on Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans coming back. I think it'd be nice for them to come back for a movie, and then that's going to be it. They're not going to keep going. So, all right, guys, we're almost out of time. Any last questions or anything you want to say before we let this one go? Like always, I'm going to thank you guys. We got to 4,000 super quick because of that last video. I appreciate everybody who shows up in the chat today just to talk. It's nice to have something to do on a Sunday where we can just come on and just BS about something we all care about. And if it's just BS, right? It's fun. It's fun times. So I guess that's it for the day, guys. If you haven't checked out my website, mightycollects.com, and haven't checked out my YouTube channel, Mighty Comics and Collectibles, please do me a favor. Always support the channel. I appreciate it because I'm always going to give back as well. So like always, guys, it's Lawrence saying thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.